Welcome back, and today we are in Proverbs chapter 25, verse 6. Verse 6 says, "Do not exalt yourself for the presence of the king, and do not stand in the place of the great. For it is better that he say to you, 'Come up here,' that you should be put in the lower presence of the prince whom your eyes have seen." Jesus says the same thing. He says, when you go into someone's house for dinner, don't sit at the highest place. Because if you do, and somebody more honorable than you comes, then the host is going to tell you to move over for the other guy, and it'll be in front of everybody. It'll be shameful. However, when you go, sit in the lowest place, sit in the worst seat. So when the host comes and sees you sitting in the worst seat, he says, "Hey, what are you doing sitting down here? I got a better seat for you. Come with me." And then you get moved to a better seat in front of everybody, and everybody sees that you were humble and been lifted up, instead of seeing you knocked down from a higher place, right? And in those days, they had proper seating. It wasn't just anybody sat anywhere. It was all based on rank and how good you were and how much the host liked you. And there were better seats and worse seats and stuff. And today we don't really have that, right? The closest thing we have is riding shotgun in the car, right? If someone's driving and a bunch of friends are together, everyone wants to ride shotgun because the back middle seat, which also has a name that I will not allow myself to say, nobody wants to sit there. It's cramped. It's not near a window. It's not fun. But if you are in the passenger seat in the shotgun, then you're control. You get to control the air conditioning and the radio, and you got your own window, and there's usually no one sitting right next to you. And so that's the best seat. So when you're going for the car ride, the people like to say shotgun, so that they're calling the best seat. They want to sit in the best seat, and that's the way the world works. But the Christians, we'll take the worst seat. I remember when I was working at a computer company, and we would all go out to lunch sometimes. The programmers would go out to lunch, and then everybody else would go out to lunch, and the programmers would all yell shotgun, and they actually made elaborate rules. They put out their company documents about how to call shotgun, like the car must be in sight, you must work shotgun into a sentence, and they had fun with it. But they were still fighting for the best seat. And the programmers weren't Christians, but the other side of the staff, the warehouse staff, we were all Christians. And so instead of going for the best seat, we would all race to the car to sit in the worst seat so that our friends would get the better seats. And it's just kind of like a difference between Christians and the world. The Christians love each other, and then the world is trying to get the best for themselves all the time. And it was a whole different mindset, and I love that. That was great. It was a great picture for me in my mind, and hopefully for everybody else as well. Verse 6 says, "Do not exalt you." I read that one. Verse 8 says, "Do not hastily go to court, for what will you do in the end when your neighbor has put you to shame? Debate your case with your neighbor, and do not disclose the secret to another, lest he who hears it exposes your shame and your reputation be ruined." If you got something going on with your neighbor, don't be quick to go to court. Try to settle it with your neighbor, because you might be in the wrong. And if you settle it between you and your neighbor, then only you and your neighbor know about it. And if you've settled it with him, he's fine with it. But if somebody else hears about it, then they talk about the wrongdoings you've done, and your reputation's ruined. If you go to court, your neighbor, maybe you did something wrong, your neighbor can win the case, and then you do something wrong and you pay for the court fees, and you're publicly humiliated. So it's best just to talk to your neighbor one-on-one and get it figured out. Verse 11 says, "A word fitly spoken is like apples of gold in settings of silver. Like the earring of gold and ornament of fine gold, it is a wise rebuker to an obedient ear." So say the right word at the right time to help somebody out. And when someone speaks a word of rebuke to you, of correction, that says, "Hey, you did something wrong," listen. It's like fine jewelry if you can listen to rebuke and take it well. So do that. It is a good thing. And then verse 13 says, "Like the cold of snow in the time of harvest, it is a faithful messenger to those who sends him, for he refreshes the soul of his masters." So if someone's giving you a correction or rebuke, it says it's like the cold of snow time of harvest. It's something that's just refreshing. It's refreshing to be corrected in a loving way, so that you will be a better person. Well, God bless you, and have a nice day. See you next time.